Many years ago, on the outskirts of a quiet village, there stood a small old cottage where Agnes lived alone. Her husband had passed away long ago, and she eked out a modest pension. Yet despite her hardships, she always strove to remain kind and optimistic. One frosty winter night, as Agnes was preparing for bed, she heard faint cries coming from beyond her door. In that moment, her choice, to open her door and her heart, sets in motion a journey of love, sacrifice, and redemption that neither she nor the child she names Nathan could ever have imagined. Opening it, she was stunned to find, on the porch, in a little basket, a tiny infant wrapped in a thin blanket. The baby was trembling from the cold. His face was pale and his lips were bleeding. "Oh my," Agnes whispered, bringing her hands to her mouth. Gathering her courage, she lifted the child into her arms and carried him inside, seating him close to the fire to warm him. She quickly prepared a bottle of milk and fed him. As his trembling subsided and his cries fell silent, Agnes felt a surge of love and protectiveness. Who could have abandoned such a fragile little one in the cold? And why leave him on her doorstep? She had no answers, but she knew this baby needed help, and she could not refuse him. "So must have been sent to me by heaven," she murmured, gently stroking his cheek. "I will take care of you. You will be mine." Agnes named the child Nathan and vowed to raise him as her own. Life would surely become even harder with another mouth to feed, but she had no doubts. The next morning, Agnes awoke earlier than usual. Nathan was sleeping in the makeshift cradle she had fashioned from an old wooden crate lined with soft blankets. She knew that raising a child would be difficult, especially for a woman of her age and on her modest income, and she feared doubts might darken her spirit. But reality soon reminded her of her purpose. She reached out to her neighbors for help. Miss Graham, who lived down the road, gifted her some outgrown children's clothes that had belonged to her grandchildren. Mr. Thompson, the baker, promised to set aside any leftover bread for her. Slowly but surely, Agnes gathered everything she needed to care for Nathan. Every penny counted. She cut back her own expenses, ate less, and wore patched clothes. On cold nights, she held Nathan close to keep him warm. Despite the hardships, she never complained. Whenever she saw his smile or heard his laughter, she whispered, "Every sacrifice for you is my miracle." Months passed, and Nathan grew into a healthy, happy child. He followed Agnes everywhere, helped her harvest vegetables in the garden, and waved at neighbors who came to visit. Everyone in the village adored him, and they admired Agnes's devotion. One day he found a wounded bird on the ground, its wing injured and barely able to breathe. Without hesitation, he ran to Agnes, gently cradling the bird in his hands. "Mama, can we help her?" he asked, his big eyes full of concern. Agnes smiled, moved by his compassion. "Of course, dear. Let's care for her together." For weeks they nursed the bird, feeding and protecting her until she grew strong enough to fly away. On the day they released her, Nathan clapped his hands with joy. "It saved her, Mama," he said proudly. "No, we saved her together," Agnes corrected him, holding him close. "But kindness is best when shared." As Nathan grew older, Agnes taught him not only how to survive, but also how to live with love, humility, and gratitude. Though they had little, their home was always filled with warmth and laughter. They could never have imagined that the foundation of love and kindness she built would change Nathan's future in ways they never dreamed. Over the years, Nathan became an intelligent, curious boy. Agnes did everything she could to nurture his talents despite their limited resources. When money was tight, she read him stories from old books she found at sales, taught him math using pebbles in the garden, and took him to the town library, where he devoured adventures and knowledge. "Education is your key to a better life," she often told him, urging him never to stop learning. Nathan took her words to heart, excelling at school and earning the respect of his classmates. As he grew, he began to wonder about his origins. One evening, sitting together on the porch, he asked, Mama, why don't I look like you?" Agnes hesitated for a moment, then smiled gently. "Because you came to me as a gift. I found you on my doorstep when you were just a baby. That doesn't change the fact that you are my son in every way." Nathan nodded, satisfied with her answer, and gradually stopped asking about his past, focusing instead on making her proud. When he was 12, Nathan got a part-time job at Mr. Thompson's bakery and saved every penny to ease Agnes's financial burden. One Christmas, he surprised her with a hand-knitted scarf he'd made in his spare time. Tears filled Agnes's eyes as she hugged him. "It's perfect, darling. Thank you," she whispered through her tears. Though life remained hard, their bond only grew stronger. Nathan admired Agnes's resilience and selflessness and vowed to repay her someday. Agnes, in turn, was proud of the kind, hard-working young man he was becoming. By the time he finished school, Nathan had the confidence and determination to pursue greater things. He applied to college and was encouraged by his teachers, who believed he had the potential for greatness. Agnes, though nervous about him leaving home, supported his dreams wholeheartedly. One evening, as they filled out his college applications together, she said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. You have a brilliant future ahead." Nathan smiled but felt a pang of sadness at the thought of leaving her. "What will you do without me?" he asked gently. "I'll manage," she replied with a wink, "but I will always wait for your letters and calls." True to his word, Nathan stayed in touch. While attending college in the city, he worked several part-time jobs to support himself and cover living expenses. His passion for innovation led him to entrepreneurship. In his final year, he developed an app that optimized supply chain logistics. The project caught investors' attention, and within months he founded his own company, which grew rapidly and brought him wealth beyond anything he or Agnes had imagined. Despite his success, Nathan remained humble, remembering the values Agnes instilled in him: kindness, hard work, and gratitude. But there was something he kept secret. He rarely told Agnes about his financial status. Instead, from time to time, he sent her small gifts, new kitchenware or a warm coat, explaining that he'd found a good deal and wanted to surprise her. Meanwhile, Nathan searched for his biological parents with the help of a private investigator. He discovered that his father, Charlie Whitmore, was a wealthy businessman who had abandoned him decades earlier due to personal trouble. Though hurt by their past, Nathan decided to meet Charlie, not in anger but to understand him. The reunion was emotional. Charlie, with tears in his eyes, apologized for leaving Nathan and confessed that regret had haunted him for years. Learning of Agnes's sacrifices moved him deeply. "Say she saved my life," Nathan told Charlie. Now it was their turn to repay her. Together they planned a tribute, a film titled Far From Home, that Agnes would never see coming, and a reunion that would change her life forever. 20 years after that fateful winter night, Agnes's life remained simple yet joyful. She spent her days tending her garden, knitting blankets for the local shelter, and visiting neighbors, but in her heart, she missed one person. One crisp autumn afternoon, as Agnes sat on the porch knitting, she heard the low hum of an engine. Looking up, her heart raced as an elegant black car pulled up. From it emerged a tall, impeccably dressed man with a warm smile. It was Nathan, but not the boy who had left years ago. This Nathan carried himself with confidence. His eyes shone with gratitude and purpose. "Mama," he called, rushing to her. Agnes stood, her hands trembling as he embraced her. "Nathan, is it really you?" she whispered. "It's me," he replied, stepping back to look at her. Before she could ask why he'd come or how his life had unfolded, another figure appeared. A distinguished man in his 50s, his face soft yet emotional. Mrs. Agnes," he began. My name is Charlie Whitmore. I believe you know my son." Agnes froze in astonishment. "Your son?" she echoed. Charlie nodded, tears glistening in his eyes. 20 years ago, my wife and I made a terrible mistake. We gave up our newborn because we felt we couldn't provide for him." Agnes's hand flew to her lips as realization dawned. The boy she had raised as her own was also their biological child. "To Nathan," Charlie continued. "So we spent years searching for him. When we found him, he told us of your selfless love. I wanted to give him the best life I could. And now I want to care for you. You deserve nothing less." Tears streamed down Agnes's face as she listened. All these years she had believed Nathan was heaven's gift to brighten her lonely life. Now she understood their bond was even more miraculous than she'd imagined. To honor her kindness, Nathan and Charlie settled all her debts, installed central heating and modern plumbing in her cottage, and updated the appliances. Yet they preserved its cozy charm. Charlie insisted on repaying every sacrifice Agnes had made. But the most meaningful gift came from Nathan one evening by the fireplace, a small box wrapped in plain paper. Inside lay a simple silver locket engraved with the words, "Forever my mother." Within it were 2 photographs, one of Agnes holding baby Nathan, the other of them together as adults. "So gift can truly repay you," Agnes said, tears in her eyes, "for giving me a future I never dreamed of." And Nathan pressed the locket into her hand. "And you will always be my mother in every way that matters," he whispered. To honor her legacy, Nathan and Charlie founded the Agnes Whitmore Foundation, providing resources and support to families in crisis and children without guardians. Inspired by Agnes's love and sacrifice, they watched proudly as their work flourished. Agnes often visited the foundation's office, sharing her story with those who came for help, reminding them life is hard, but kindness always finds a way to grow, even in the harshest soil. Now, as she gazed upon her thriving garden and the warm home filled with love, Agnes knew that her simple act, opening her door to a helpless child, had sparked a wave of hope and generosity touching countless lives across generations. And when the first stars appeared in the night sky, she felt Nathan's gentle presence and heard him whisper, "Thank you for everything, Mama." Love, compassion, and second chances had transformed their lives into something truly extraordinary. What do you think of today's story of kindness and compassion? Please let us know in the comments below, and also let us know where you're listening from. Thank you for tuning in to Storyline Narratives.